So it looks like we're live. I'm so excited. This is the second Zoomification conversation. More to come. Last week I asked you if we should do them on Tuesdays, and I heard back that Tuesdays would be good too. And I loved it because there were so many people I wanted to talk to. And I reached out to the person who is sitting here with me. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hi, Jen.
Sitting here, and I said, there's a conversation to be had about education right now, and the perfect person to do it would be Jessica Bush. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about why she's so perfect for this conversation.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Jean.
You're welcome. So tell everybody what you do.
I am Jessica Bush, and the proud owner of Tutor Doctor of North Jersey and Rockland. I've been in business for almost 9 years now in the North and Western Bergen area. We do really personalized one-on-one, now online, hopefully in-home again soon, tutoring, learning, test prep. Had a lot of inquiries about college lately. So whatever the age, we can really help in a personalized way.
And we had need for Jessica's services about 4 years ago, and it was really an awesome experience. So she is my friend. She has been my client. You can probably see her back behind me. But we have also used her services through Tutor Doctor, and that was wonderful too. So it's the trifecta. But if you're checking in, please comment. Let us know you're here. We want to know you're here. And if you have questions as we're going through this, ask questions. We want to be able to answer them. We know there's lots going on with people right now. And I feel like I have to say this first before we launch into any conversation about education, that this conversation we're having now is not an indictment of anyone. This isn't about who did what wrong. It's not about how somebody fell down on the job, whoever that somebody was. It's not that. Look, I think it is fair to say nobody in January thought they were going to be having this conversation in June. And I say June,
Yep.
I almost said March because everything sort of ended in March, right? Like I don't actually feel like we had an April or a May. I feel like it's still March. It's just been one long day with a whole bunch of naps. But somehow parents ended up, teachers, kids ended up trying to learn in their kitchens and in their living rooms, and teachers are trying to teach through a computer screen. And it's insane. So no one was ready for this. And people have been valiantly trying, really. I have to say, I don't know if I told you this, Jess, but Philip's Latin teacher drove to each of her students' houses with cookies and a poem of the AP test.
How beautiful is that?
Left them these and socially distanced, very respectable, very, very respectful of everything that needs to happen, but gave her kids just a few minutes of her time physically to say good luck, and I'm so happy you were in my class. You know, I'm crying a little.
It's really beautiful.
I've watched these teachers, and I've heard other parents in other schools talking about them. So I will get off my soapbox, but I just want everybody to know this is not about that. This is just about a clear understanding that this all sucks and we weren't ready for it. And so how do we make sure our kids are ready for what's coming next? And that's really the conversation that we want to have. So I know the stuff I've been hearing. What have you sort of been hearing around the digital water cooler?
Well, it's interesting because it's shifted, it's shifting. I think like right now it's shifting, but in the beginning, after March 15th, and we were going strong tutoring, a number of students of all ages and test prep, whatever, everybody had to sort of take a pause and say, okay, here we go. Online school starting. We don't know what we're up against. I'm talking parent-wise, let's just take one day at a time. And it was really interesting because some students went on pause, Some students said, okay, we're going to pause for now, the tutoring, whatnot. And some went gung-ho and we kept tutoring. But it was really interesting to see some of the students that went on pause responded really well to online school. I've seen a real sort of split between students that have done really well with online school, and I'm not sure they're going to want to go back so readily. No, seriously, and it's interesting because a lot of them are students that were really struggling, maybe socially with the whole interaction, middle school, mean girls, bullying, whatever situation. They really like online school. So that's going to be a really big social adjustment for them to go back to school. And then the kids that are just shutting down with online school, they just don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. They're not handing in assignments, or they're trying to hand it in and the technology gets in the way, or they thought they handed it in and they really didn't hand it in. It's a real split, I see.
What was really interesting for us, if my son ever sees this, he'll probably shoot me, but I think his whole academic career, he was struggling with the idea that he could finish things pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And he had to sit there. And it was a struggle for him. And we have struggled a lot. He has really struggled a lot. The teachers struggled a lot. And this has been such an interesting thing for him and I've never seen him so motivated. It's crazy because he's setting his own schedule. He's keeping to that schedule. He's getting the work done. And when he's done with the work, he can move on to what he wants to do. And it's been really beneficial for him. So, but there are pieces of it that aren't. I have an 18-year-old, I have a senior in high school. So,
but that's a really good point.
Yeah, trying to figure out what college looks like and trying to figure out, that's all different for us. But
yeah,
age probably plays into it. But he was. But I know a lot of parents who have been really struggling with getting their kids to focus, getting their kids to play along because they need that encouragement. Hello, Miss Lois. Hi.
Hi, Lois.
The kids really need someone to be there and to encourage them.
But I want to go back to what you said before, because I think it's a really good point. And he created a schedule now that he's online where he could get the work done. And when he realized that if he did that and got the work done, he actually has more free time. Yep. And that is a really important aspect of what we're trying to teach, especially with executive function skills and learning all these skills, that you're actually going to have more time for fun, for whatever it is that you want, if you really learn how to organize and plan your schedule and your things you have to get done.
Hey, Tammy. It's so good to see
Tammy.
I think if you have questions, guys, put them in the comments because we want to be able to answer them. But I think back to when Philip was little. Oh, please, he's going to so kill me. But his teacher would walk up behind him in second grade. Mr. Friel, I adore you. His teacher would walk up behind him and physically the act of standing behind him or putting his hand on Philip's shoulder would refocus him. And I think about the younger kids who are struggling to find that focus and rely on that interaction.
Yep.
That don't have it right now, that are probably the ones that are most affected by this. And at any age, if that's the interaction that you need to get focused, I think this is the most impactful in less than positive ways for them, right?
Absolutely. Well, and the fact that the one thing that we've been talking about that is so detrimental is the one thing that they have to be on for school all the time now. And that in itself, I've had families say, we need to stop tutoring right now because they are literally, our kid is online all the time and they need a break. To go back on and then go on tutoring again online is just too much, that we need a break. And I completely get that. I completely get it.
Well, I have to, one of my favorite stories started early on in this cycle, I was talking to a friend who has little ones, and she said, we were probably 3 weeks in, and she said, my first week, I was ready. We were going to educate and learn, and it was all going to be positive and limit screen time and do all of this wonderful stuff. And then we got to the second week, and it was, we should be limiting screen time and educating. We should. And by the third week, she was like, why aren't you watching TV? Mommy needs to day drink. This is crazy. So
yeah, and that's what happened. You have to just let it all, you had to let it go out the window because, you know, and that's what we were focusing on is, you know what, whatever it is that you need as a parent, everyone's different. Everyone deals with all of this in a different way. You have to deal with it in your own way, and nobody can judge. Nobody can say anything negative or positive. It's just everybody's own way. You have to find your way through this.
So is there a way to talk to your kids? I mean, I know that we are months into this, and I think that for some of us, there was just a whole lot of wishful thinking that we would never have to be months into this. Is there a way that we should be talking to our kids about what to plan for, what comes next? I mean, what is the conversation? Because I think for most of us, it's, I don't know what you're learning. I didn't learn this 30 years ago.
You mean regarding education and academics?
Yeah, what's the right way to kind of help them through?
Because I always think emotional and mental health, because that's just the way I am. But everybody is in a world of uncertainty. Parents, kids, whoever we are, we're all uncertain. So we really have to take it one day at a time, and not, because things are changing now. They're saying they're opening hair salons. Yay!
I need that so badly. I have colors of hair. I've never had 5 colors of hair.
So now we have a hair salon date. But the kids are, the rug has been totally pulled out from under them. And we need to understand that what we're feeling is not what they're feeling. Even just in general, you know, we can't inflict what we may be fearing and our fears and our crap onto them, because what they're feeling is totally different. They can't see their friends. That's huge. That's huge for a social kid. You can't see your friends. A lot of them are really down about it, or they've lost someone in their family, like grandma or grandpa, who they're grieving. So they're grieving so much more than what we can imagine, that we just have to give them a break. And that's what I think we've been doing for the past month and a half. We've just been one day at a time, give them a break, go out and play, you know, go out and ride bikes with your mask on, whatever you have to do. But now I feel like there's another shift happening. Just in this past week or so, where school's ending soon, they cancel finals, you know, for the younger ones, they're even giving them they're stopping school like a week or two early, and it's shifting. So now parents, I think, are starting to look at, okay, where are we going to go from here? What's going to happen? Are there gaps? Are there not? You know, they're starting to sort of assess things and take a step back.
I think that was why I know that was why I really wanted to do this, because before the school year ends, again, without any indictment, without any kind of conversation about what fell through the cracks, I think, and tell me if you think it's right, but I think that if, as a parent, you could reach out to your your child's teachers and say, you know what's coming next year. You've seen my child in the last couple of months. What do you want us to do this summer?
Yeah.
What do you want us to do so that when we start up again, they're ready? Because there's stuff that just didn't happen. You know, as frustrated as my child got, I mean, they cut out a whole bunch of the AP classes, right? They decided not to teach the last quarter. And And I believe all of his AP teachers decided to teach it after the test. So, or at least some of them.
At least some of them.
I'm thrilled. But there's stuff that can probably help to give your kid a little bit better footing for next year. Do you think that's a good idea?
Some of our parents have done that already. I think it's a great idea if you're ready to do that. Depending on how your kid has handled this whole thing, I think it's a good idea. We've already had some responses from some teachers giving us actually amazing resources. And I found some really great free resources on our new group on Facebook, which I'm posting every day. There's so much great free stuff out there. But as the kids get older, there are going to be gaps, especially math.
It's difficult. I think it's very difficult for everybody. But I also would say, if you have a child who is old enough to email their teachers on their own,
let them do it, not you.
Right. There's something so positive about the teacher hearing from the child, about the child taking the reins themselves and reaching out.
Yep.
It gives them a basis to understand that that's how they can move forward, and gives them more control.
And empowering. It's empowering for them, and they feel, and it creates a connection between the teacher, which they may not have had, depending on what kind of kid.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
But I also think that there are a group of families and parents, totally understandable, no judgment, like you said, at all, that just feel like, you know what? I'm going down the shore.
Yep.
I'm going down the shore. I'm going upstate. I need to just chill and get out of here for a while. And you know what? I get that.
But that's even. Oh, Lois says she wishes she had a math tutor as a kid. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is equally as important.
It is.
Being able to give people room to breathe.
Because, and I want to say one thing, in being able to do that, and we know us as parents and business owners and entrepreneurs and all of us, and I'm one of them who does not give myself too much downtime as far as me time. We need to do that right now, especially because our kids need to see us doing that, because of course we're the models of everything. And while we're doing that, while we're down the shore or while we're upstate in the mountains, we can really take a look at that social emotional intelligence part, that creativity part, that part of us that is not just purely academic stuff, because that part is really important.
Yep. And I wanted to say that we have the ability to, Jen wants to know what downtime is.
Right, Jen. I hear you.
I think we're all there. Oh gosh, my child's going to kill me. When Philip was little, we used to go to the grocery store and I would sing him songs that were like, we have 4 oranges, we have 3 apples. How much is that? It was crazy, right? It was fun. He would sing with me. I would sing with him. And
now you still sing together, I hear.
Yeah, he's 18.
Well, you did.
My child's 18, so maybe sometimes. But it was a way to learn.
Yep, totally.
So I think the more you play, the more they learn. So there are lots and lots of ways to bring,
oh my goodness, so many,
into pasta.
So many.
Like make it fun and do things that are meaningful. You can do that with your kids. Whether it's, counting the shells that you find on the shore or
counting the dolphins that are jumping, while you're out on the
right, exactly. Read trees, science, teach them science, let them do a rain bucket, let them count, figure out
many
you get in 3 weeks or however long you're there. And any of you who are going to the shore, could you reach out to me? I want to go with you.
With mask.
With a mask, yes, with a mask. I cook. So I think that we have so much to do. My biggest problem, I have many, and there are many in the chat who know me and don't say what they are. It'll make me mad. But one of my issues is scheduling. I take on way too much, and then stuff falls away. Talk to me about the power of getting your kid to stay to a schedule, even if it's just a summer schedule.
Well, this is something, by the way, that we're having a small group class on this summer, which is going to be fabulous. And any of you know one of my tutors, Shiva, he's fabulous. If Lisa Harris is still on here. So us as parents, everybody has this, right? We all know. If you can learn it when you're 7th or 8th grade, 6th, 7th grade, you are set, man. You are just set for high school, set for college. But it's what you said before, you don't realize until you start blocking out your time. Actually, Jen, I did it we sat with her daughter, and she had this unbelievable journal, right? Remember that? Unbelievable. Oh my God. Now she'd kill me if I talked about her, but that blew me away. And by the way, Jen, I use that example with so many kids about her bullet journal. It was such an amazing thing. So planning your time doesn't just have to be about school. It has to be about life. So you're not just planning school stuff and when to study and what assignments and whatever. You're planning when am I going to hang out with my friends? When am I going to go get my nails done? When am I going to go to basketball practice? When am I going to have a party? I mean, you got to block out your time. So I say to them all the time, you got to block out fun time and school time and life time and family time. And if you can learn how to do that, you'll realize, wow, I really have a lot of time.
Or you can figure out what your priorities are for the times you don't have time.
Or, Lois, are you still on? We can figure out, okay, when are we going to block out a large chunk of time for you to do what you really, really, really love to do, like art, and make that happen. If you don't block out the time, it's not going to happen. So blocking out fun time is really important. Just as fun, just as much as blocking out when you're going to study for a test.
Having that behind you. So now you're in week 2. You planned week 1, you wrote everything down. You get to week 2 and you think, I didn't get the stuff done I wanted to get done.
Okay.
You get to go back to week 1 and say, oh, wait, I didn't allocate the right timing because it's written down. And I guarantee you, I don't remember today my timing from yesterday. So being able to look back and see the blocks is so meaningful. It's giving that skill to your child. Do as I say, not as I do, people. Giving that skill to your child is a gift because it does allow them to take and assess.
Absolutely.
What's wrong, what needs to be tweaked, because it's there.
But also to evaluate, did I just not do those things because maybe I don't like them?
Yes.
Or these are the things that I'm not really that great at, so maybe I procrastinated them. Because I do that as far as administrative and because my forte is not sitting behind a desk and doing a spreadsheet. I say, okay, I know I really don't like this task. So you have to force yourself almost to do it. And then when you realize that you do it, same with the kids, that you realize once you finish it, wow, it's a major accomplishment. And you feel like, whew, okay, but see how much better you feel after you're finished with it?
And you can give yourself a pat on the back and move on and feel clean. Like you feel like you've tied up that loose end and now you can move on. And you feel good about moving on.
And it actually helps you realize, I think, that, well, you know what? That's not really that horrible of a thing to do. Maybe I am getting kind of better at it, you know? So the next time around, it won't be as daunting, or it won't be as horrible, or, you know, same with the kids, you know? They realize that if they learn that it doesn't work when you get into 8th, going into 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, it doesn't work to study the night before. It doesn't work anymore. So you have to learn a different way. And they're not used to that. So it's literally changing their pattern and their habits. And once they get the habits down, they can hopefully do it on their own as they move into college or beyond, wherever they go in life. Even if they're own a pizzeria and you know, have to schedule other people's time. They have to plan other people's time, not just their own now, you know?
Yeah. It is really interesting. And I work for, I know, Jess, you know, and not everybody knows, but I am creative manager for a magazine. We had the honor of talking to kids from all of the high schools in our area.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I have to say, I was so impressed. Going back to a little bit ago when you said not to put our fears and our worries and our expectations on these kids, it was really interesting being able to say, what is it that you're feeling right now? What is it that you love about what's happening right now? What is it that you feel like you're missing? What is it? What do you see? What do you see for what's coming next? How do you feel about it? And what I thought they'd say and what they said were very different.
Really? What did they say?
Well, it was just I'm not going to jump ahead of the magazine; they'll kill me. But there was just a lot of really positive comments and really community-oriented comments. These kids were so on board with what needed to happen and how it needed to happen, and I think they were feeling a loss, and they were certainly vocal, but not in the way that you would think. It wasn't anger, and it wasn't frustration. It was probably more acceptance.
Wow, that's
and
awesome.
I was really so impressed, and I have seen it in my own child. I've seen it in his social group. It's very interesting when I talk to the parents. I hear something very different.
Different.
Lots more sorrow and lots more anger and lots more everything. And you talk to the kids, and they seem pretty resigned, but approaching it. Sidebar, squirrel. I keep saying to these kids every time I see them, yes, you are missing, but you are missing together.
Right.
Whatever you are missing it together. You will forever be the infamous class of 2020. You will forever be, this group of kids that lived through this experience together. You are not on your own. It is not just you. It is this huge community. And I will say this too, whoever comes up with the idea to make the COVID-19 balloon, you will make so much money at every high school, college reunion that happens from here on out for the class of 2020.
It's true.
So
good idea.
I want part of those sales.
I know you need to make that happen.
But I think that giving them hope and light is so important, and really giving them some skills to move them forward. So
yes.
What do you think, if you said there were like 3 top things that parents should be thinking about right now, what would you think they'd be? Don't you like being put on the spot?
Regarding education, regarding academics, regarding the summer, being happy, finding things to make you happy. And if you can't do that, getting help. Really trying to understand that we are all together, and that however you need to reach out to your community, your friends, your family, you need to connect. I think it's really important for the kids because a lot of them have felt a real loss. And go out and have fun and be happy with your friends. And keep.
While you socially distance. While you socially distance.
Yes, while you're socially distanced. And be flexible. I think flexibility is really important because they don't really know what's happening in September exactly and how school may be different. Flexibility right now, and like I say to my daughter, and she could kill me right now if I tell her but my daughter is very black or white. It's either black or white. And I say to her, and she's a planner, things have to be in place. And I say to her, life is about the gray.
All of it.
And it is a lot of gray right now. We have a lot of gray. And you have to be able to be accepting and flexible through all the different variations of gray. And I think that's really important. And I talk to my daughter about it all the time. Especially if you have a kid who is black or white.
If you have a kid who really has to make those definitions stick, if they are what I believe is what I believe, and that's what I believe. Yes, it is a struggle, and giving them the ability to understand that choices happen every moment. Every moment is a new opportunity for a choice. Is so powerful, and helping them manage change, which can be really difficult if you struggle with
for
that.
You, exactly. Exactly. And we're all in this nebulosity of COVID land, and the uncertainty of it and what's going to happen next and how school is going to be for college students next. They don't know, let alone the teachers who are going back into 4th grade next year. They don't know. It's been a real struggle for teachers too. So just to be flexible and open and accepting, I think, is really important.
I love the idea about getting them vested in the community. I love the idea about getting them thinking about other people.
Yeah, I think it's important.
It becomes something very important. It gets you out of your own shell. It gets you out of your own headspace. I've said it before, but April was a very interesting month. I think April was the month where so many people were either spinning up really fast, trying to just cope and deal, or they were spinning down and not coping well. I was kind of one of those. I certainly handled what I needed to handle. It was all fine. But in the moments when I didn't have to be doing something, I really wanted to be under my covers, hiding. So everybody needs to be able to acknowledge that we all process things differently. Our kids really, each and every one of them is processing
Big
something.
Time.
For parents,
and it's not what we're processing.
Right. And for parents, they're watching that happen. I mean, you've got 3 kids that are probably all processing it very differently.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's difficult. But I think that we're something is shifting right now. I feel a shift. I know with my parents and parents right now, just in this past week. I think that we're thinking about, okay, we've gone through it. School's ending early. We have another week or two, maybe a couple of weeks. What are we going to do for camp? Is camp happening? Make a decision. Let's find out. Are the pools opening? Now that may be shifting. So things are shifting almost every day. And we have to keep open to the shifts and say to our kids, okay, so maybe we need to make another change this summer, or let's figure out what else we can do. Or instead of, freaking out and getting crazy about it.
Well, it's such an interesting conversation to have that this time of our lives has taught our children more about being creative, being resilient.
My favorite topic.
I think if you show up at school at X hour, whatever hour your school opens up, and you go home at the end of the day, and for a lot of kids, they're now scheduled into how many different activities, whether it's art or sports or whatever, and then they come home and they have their 2 hours for homework, and then they have to go to bed, and then it all starts over, and it's such a cycle of their life being programmed for them, and the plug got pulled on those programs.
Yep.
All the programming got rebooted.
Yep.
People have had to, figure out how to get creative and how to find ways to inspire yourself and not stare at a wall.
So I'll tell you what we're focusing on this summer, along with this executive function, how to plan and organize and manage all your stuff, fun and school. We're also looking at, I'm doing something twice this summer with Catherine Lanconi from Presenting Perfection it's called Define You. So it's perfect. It's actually all about social emotional learning about yourself. So it's perfect for 8th grade, going into high school, 9th, 10th graders, that we're going to give them concrete tools to learn about what makes them tick. So that as they go through high school, they can start to really find what they're all about before they get to be seniors or even college students and say, why am I studying business? Why am I in finance when I really hate numbers because I think I'm going to make a lot of money? Okay, but what am I all about? So if they can really discover that part of themselves as they move through high school with very concrete tools and creating an action plan for them with tools and resources that we're going to work with them on and teach them, that will help them so much when they decide what their major is going to be, or when they decide to choose a college, or whether they decide that they don't want to go to college. Whatever their choice is, they will find what drives them, which is a huge benefit. And it's something that we don't talk about, my opinion, we don't talk about enough these days.
I agree. We've talked about the arts. We've talked about being creative. We've talked about finding your passion. I'm going to pull my soapbox over again and step on it just for a minute. As we move out of this time that we're in, and we're looking at budgets, and we're looking at how we move forward dollar-wise, and there are going to be lots of hard decisions, I know. I have to encourage absolutely every parent, every person. You don't have to have a kid. This will affect you if we don't do this for our kids. Please, please advocate for elective classes, advocate for the arts, advocate for physical education. They are going to be the first things that go. They are. That's what everybody looks at, and they say, well, you don't really need an art class. You don't really need a music class, but you know what? You really, really do. That's where your kids learn to think outside the box.
Yep, 100%.
It helps with math and science. It creates a well-rounded child. So it's going to happen. I know it's coming down the road. Please, please advocate to keep them.
And not only that, that's 100,000,000%. But if you have a kid who has a creative mind or a creative being, that is a gift that kid has that other people do not. And I've sat in college open houses, numbers of them, college accepted students days, and they will tell you, if you have a creative kid, those tech companies, those big companies out there want those people because they have the ability to see things creatively that the people with a different side of their brain don't have. So you need to have both of those things to be able to really bring your business, bring whatever you are to another level. I think that's really, really impactful.
I don't know when I have been moved more than when I was working in the middle schools with a pull-out program for photography, and one of the kids who joined because his friend did, and was not really vested in the first couple of times. And I just kept challenging him, and we kept working, and he kept saying, but I don't see it this way, and I don't do it that way. And I'm like, great, but that's what you can do. That's art. Show me what you see. Show me how you do it.
Exactly.
And when it clicked, he started creating the most amazing things. And when we did the gallery at the end, came up to me and he said, Mrs. Terman, I never thought that I could do art.
That's right.
But I love it. And his parents came up to me and said, our kid is different. Like he's just different. We're buying him a really great camera, and we're really supporting this. And this was a kid who was really vested in science and really vested in math. And it gave him something new. It gave him a glimpse into a different part of who he was. And it's so important to let your kids have.
It is 100,000,000%. And that's part of what we need to start talking about, I think, as we move forward through this time where we have to be really flexible, is let's help our kids really find what drives them, what direction maybe they can take in their life where they can be happy about something and make money. I'm not discounting that. But for example, there are so many quote unquote careers out there that we never know about and think about until you really start looking and seeing. For example, my daughter started out in biomedical art. Both sides of her brain are strong. She's extremely creative, but also math and sciencey. It was an amazing program. It's an amazing thing. Who would have ever thought of that? I found it at a big college fair because I was looking at banners about different majors that are in schools. There are things out there. And if your kids have a special gift, it's really important to nurture it.
Encouraging them to be a part of that is so important. I agree to take that on. So one of the things that we really said is that we wanted to help people kind of spackle the cracks that kind of popped up. So I know we talked about getting your kid, if they're old enough, to email their teachers and say,
Yep.
What else do I need to do? Can I do something this summer? If they're too young, or if you want to have a little bit of that conversation too, go ahead, connect with the teachers and say, I'm so on board with you. What do we do to make next year better? Knowing that we're not exactly sure what next year looks like, but where do we stand from an education perspective to do that? Are there other things that I know you have your group that's got great ideas, right?
We've got a bunch of classes, small groups going, probably mostly remote still. Practice tests, there's a lot of unknown regarding SAT and ACT. We know what's going on. We can keep you on the pulse of that. Right now, the only SAT is going to be August. Right now, the ACT looks like it hopefully is July, but we don't know if they're going to cancel that too. So just keeping in touch with somebody, that's what we're here for. Planning out your testing schedule, keeping it flexible, looking at where your math gaps may be, because if you have a junior or a sophomore who's in Algebra 2 right now, that stuff they've learned this past semester is so important to their testing. Yes, a lot of colleges are going test optional. If you have a really bright kid, is that a smart idea? That's what's going to get them scholarships, is their testing. It adds to their portfolio if they're a strong student. If they are not as strong of a student, and you already know that they're going to go to schools that are test optional or that are not accepting the test right now, personally, and I have a test prep and a tutoring business, I understand why you don't want them to go through the investment of having them go through test prep.
And you're not talking financial investment, you're talking physical,
everything.
mental.
I'm talking mentally, stressfully, financially, everythingly. I'm talking the whole entire thing. I've had families tell me that they have decided that if they apply to colleges, their student is going to go to a school that will not accept, that isn't accepting the test right now. On the flip side, don't undervalue the benefit of having those test scores. If you have a student that's going to go to us or wants to go to a school such as that, or get looked at for scholarships or pre-med or chemistry or math major or biology or engineering. I mean, some of these key, you need to have your test scores still. You do.
What about what's happening inside your Facebook group?
My group. Oh, my group is awesome. I am.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Almost every day we're posting something fun. If you have something you're looking for your child, especially if they're younger, send me a note, join the group. I mean, I have had specific free, I'm getting free stuff here. Free math resources, make math fun over the summer. How can we learn math over the summer and continue to work on it? I'm talking the little ones, like the elementary school kids. And ask me what you need. So I've posted Nikon is giving free photo lessons. The Museum of Modern Art is giving free art lessons. Fender Guitar is giving free guitar lessons. I mean, there is so much cool. FIT. I just got it in the in my email yesterday. FIT has free seminars going on all about marketing and entrepreneurialism and all that kind of stuff. There's so much cool stuff out there. So if you need something in particular, let me know. I will find it for you.
So they would go to your Facebook page, which is
Tutor Doctor of North Jersey and Rockland. And in there is my group, which is now At Home Learning with Tutor Doctor of North Jersey and Rockland.
That's awesome. And know that, as I said to the kids, you're all in this together. To the parents out there, we are all in this together.
We're here for you. That's what it's all about.
We are all in this together. And probably the worst thing that we could possibly do is show our children how not to be positive. And I know that I'm preaching and I'm sorry, but I have to. It is really easy to get angry. It is really easy to be frustrated. I am there with you. I started this by saying we get it. It sucks. Does sucks. But we have an opportunity to show our kids that through adversity, you find inspiration. You find ways to be creative and to figure out who you truly, truly are. Look, you want to know how I know this is true? In February, ask Jess. She knows me really well. Would I have ever been on video?
Never.
Never. I would have
And
never.
now look, you've launched your Zoomification conversation.
So it gives you an opportunity. For those of you who are thinking, man, I wish you had never found that part of you, but it gives you an opportunity to figure out what you can stretch into and what you can be. So give that gift to your kids right now. And I do think that there are things that they didn't get to learn. I'm sure that there are lots of things that the teachers had in their curriculum that they had to step down from because it didn't translate to this new medium, and they're trying to figure out how to clean that up and figure out what to do with that. But they are working very hard to try to make that happen. So
100%.
Whatever we can do, more than teaching them 4 + 4 = 9,
Right.
more than getting them to read Taming of the Shrew or whatever, helping them be problem solvers,
Themselves.
helping them figure out how to make a plan and stick to it, build a schedule and stick to it, be flexible enough to rearrange blocks on that schedule if they need to, but stay to a schedule. all of those parts are probably where we spackle in the holes more than in the physical, I'm going to teach you something about American history. Is that a true statement, do you think?
100%.
So,
and if you have a kid that is struggling or finished out the year with a 50, there's an issue there. They're going to have even more gaps. So, I mean, that's a very blatantly specific situation, but I have talked to some parents with that. It has happened in the last 2 months. And the kid may not want the help. I've got some of those too. We have to have the kids buy-in. We have to have the kids buy-in. So that's okay. Give them a break. Let them chill. But maybe in August we can come back and sort of maybe rebuild a little bit, but they definitely need some downtime.
I remember when we reached out to you, and it was for something incredibly specific that my child was sure he would manage on his own. But ultimately, but why beat your head against a wall? So we reached out to you, and my very reluctant child was paired with the most amazing tutor that the problem was resolved really quickly.
Really?
And I had to keep the tutor on board because my child was so inspired and didn't want to let go. And I would say, what exactly
were you working on that last session?
but it was another voice. It was such a great pairing for him. And that is something I think that you do so brilliantly. You don't.
Thank you. That's what it's about.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
Say, someone needs math, I have a math tutor. You say, this child who has this skill set and this personality and these likes and dislikes will match so well with this tutor who can feed into that and can work with that and inspire that child. So
100. That's what I'm all about. That's really what I'm all about. And I look for tutors. When I talk to tutors, I ask them similar questions. What do you love to do in your free time? What did you do before you got your master's in teaching? Those things are really important. Do you coach? Do you teach piano lessons? Because that's how they can really truly connect to a kid. Talk about other things other than school. Make the connection. Then you gain the trust and respect. That's what it's all about.
I agree. So to recap, have fun this summer.
Be happy.
Be happy and find creative ways to get your child to learn about what learning could be. And ask questions, and I'm sure you're doing it. But when you ask the question about how they are, stop and listen.
Yep.
Out of that. So I'm speaking from very personal experience. So when you ask when you have lots of time and stop and listen.
And I want to add one thing, because sometimes they don't want you to ask. Sometimes they just want you to leave them alone. And that's okay, because sometimes just to understand that they need to be left alone, they'll come to you when they want to talk to you. I have learned that through experience.
I agree with you. So, Jessica, you're going to have to watch the playback. Hi, you.
What?
Jessica Kishbaugh just came on board. Hi, Jessica.
Oh, we're at the end almost.
But that's okay. Because it'll be.
Ask her if she has any specific questions.
Jessica, did you come on with a question? Did you have something that you wanted to ask Jessica? Oh, that's so funny. Jessica, did you want to talk to Jessica? I had a great time. Thank you. I think this was hopefully beneficial for some people. Maybe just to hear that other people are going through what you're going through is enough. And
we are here for you. You just have a question. Those of you that know me know this is not just about selling tutoring. This is about your kid.
Without a doubt. So your website is
www.tutordoctor.com/Bergen-Rockland.
I'm trying to type this in. So tutordoctor.com
/ Bergen-Rockland. As in dash.
Looking. Clearly I need new glasses.
You need a punctuation tutor. No, I'm kidding.
So www.tutordoctor.com/Bergen-Rockland. I put it in the comments.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think that you need to pay attention, and when you need help, there are people out there to reach out to. Just in case anybody's curious, I am going to try to be doing a summer camp in August. It's going to be a very small group summer camp. We do them every year. It's always small group. So
in person or virtual?
I'm really hoping, my fingers are seriously crossed, that I have this really, really big studio in Wyckoff. So we can socially distance pretty well, but I would love it to be in person with a couple of kids. That would be amazing. It's for middle school kids. And I think at this point they need to have an opportunity to be out and in. We really are small. I mean, usually it's 8 to 10 kids. It might be 4 kids. We'll see how it works. But if you are interested, if you're watching and you have middle school kids and you're interested, please private message me or put a comment in the comments, whatever, and let me know. I will get to you when we're figuring out how this all comes together. But giving them something fun to do and something fun to learn just keeps their brain going. And that's a great thing.
And with photography, you can see the world through a different lens, maybe.
That's lovely.
Thanks, Jean.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Jean, for having me.
If you're watching the replay, comment. We will get back to you. Just let us know you were watching via the replay. And have a really, really great evening.
Thank you so much.
Weekend, whenever you're watching it. Bye, Jess. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jane.
Bye.
Bye.